Welcome to the Sirens of the Mother podcast, a place where we wax lyrical about all things mother, from the divine to the downright dirty. And it's my pleasure to have you here as we cut through the noise and distortions of our current narratives. Welcome everyone to another episode of Sirens for the Mother, and I cannot even tell you how excited, but how much I love this being. um, she came into my life at a very pinnacle point when I was diving deep into the depth of my ancestral healing, and she came along like a crystal clear depth charge that awoke me in such a way. And I see her as a dear soul sister. Beyond lifetimes we have travelled, and it was a definite homecoming when I came back in contact with Lhamo in this lifetime. So welcome, Lhamo. Do you want to say a bit about who you are? And yeah.
Thank you, Coco. I feel the same way. I feel like fell in love with you the instant that I saw you, because I always have. It feels really beautiful. Thank you. Um, I am a mum. It's my most important thing. I'm a soulmate to my beloved. Met him, found him, still married. Not just, but fully married for 25 years. And before I met Pete, I had been called to my spiritual apprenticeship. I was 17 when I was called to remember who I was. I had my quickening at 20, and then I met Pete when I was 29, and I'd only met him a few months when I did my walk back ceremony through the First Nation Apache tradition by an adopted granddaughter of Shauna D. And I was very lucky. As an Australian woman, was on Australian soil too. I was born in America, but that's not relevant to this. I'm an Aussie, and I as part of that ceremony, I did a vision quest, a Women's Way vision quest. And it was during that vision quest that a grandmother walked out of the bushes, like she's about a meter high, and she said, "Yours is the spiritual path of motherhood." And I'm like, okay. And then she showed me the souls of my three babies, both of which I've born. The third one was a changeling, and that was my spirit baby, Josiah, who I had a miscarriage with. He's my spirit child. But so to answer who I am here in this context, like talking to you, I'm a woman who walks a spiritual path of mother. And and my practice of that has been motherhood, as well as my call to ministry. And I'm an ordained interfaith minister. So I took my priestessing. So I know many people will be listening here are priestesses. I took it really seriously. I didn't know why at the time. It was like, why am I being like going down this route? Why am I becoming an ordained minister? And then it made sense. I'm here to hold the legitimacy of a forgotten lineage of women and wisdom and spirituality that we've always known, but it hasn't been validated or actually recrafted and reseeded. And that's today. So I sit here as a wisdom reseeder, as a mother priestess of a lineage of women who are remembering.
Absolutely. And that's exactly what I felt when I came into your field. Just the conviction and strength of that. And it pulled me into deeper order because I'd been swimming at a level of my ancestral healing that could have been seen as really deep, really intense, really on it. But for my standard and what I'm here to bring in, along with you, this depth of clarity, I was still in the mid waters. And when I came into your field, it was like just that pull further down into the depths, to the bottom, into that knowing of who I was on the generational lineage, and that I could, like, with one fell swoop, clear it because I claimed myself as a full, like, medicine woman while in your container, clearing that ancestral lineage. There was no like BS or messing about. There was just, this is the work we're here to do, and this is how we get it done, and we get it done now. And I just loved that direct um call of no more story. No more
Yeah.
story, no more swirling it around in the head, no more coming up, going back down, coming up. It's like you're in and you're on and you're doing it.
It was so amazing though, because like we can talk more about exactly what you said,
Yeah,
because that's the depth that I don't know I'm here to do,
yeah.
and I just go there because but for you, like, this is the thing that I think is so amazing about how the age that we're living in, Coco, because we've met online, we were doing
Mhm.
the work
Yeah.
online, yet I felt like a sonic boom happened when
Mhm.
we had interactions that just shifted. It was so profound to receive and witness
Mhm.
and feel that the profound recalibration that
Mhm.
I saw you go, oh, I know how I can do this. And you just did it. It was
Yeah.
profound. It was profound.
Thank you. Thank you. Because I really stepped into something. I could feel the stepping through the veil of no more pretending that we're not medicine women and that we're
Yeah.
not mystical beings and that we didn't come here to do the work, that it doesn't have to take, eons and eons and eons. We've traveled eons and eons and eons to get to this point, to reclaim fully who we are so that we can change the trajectory of the planet. And there was no question of that. When it was
Yeah.
just like, why am I pretending that I'm small? I'm pretending I can't do it.
Yeah,
Um,
stop
yeah,
it.
and
Yeah,
that
you
call
get that
into
illusion.
order, that calling to order. And I think we named it the other day because I still didn't quite know what I did, but you named something as mystical sacrifice.
Mm,
And that's when it all bobbed into me. And it's like, what does it take to be a mystical woman? And sometimes we have to sacrifice the things that we've held on to, whether that's identity, stories, relationships, jobs, value, money, whatever it is. We have to, like, say, those things are obsolete, and we are standing in this order and we wait for the directives from her to live in that ministry. And
yeah,
and in that moment it was like, I cannot pretend anymore
yeah.
or live into these stories that are not real. I don't know what's in front of me, but I have to move there.
Well, the stories are real, but it's not the reality that you're choosing to operate through.
Yeah,
Their story.
yeah.
Like everything's a layer of story, and because we're constantly becoming our soul self, our divine self. But if the story is not serving us, and if the story is a wounded story, it's coming from our
Mhm.
ego. It's like, do you really want it? Like, you can stay there, but there's a deeper story, and it's a
Mhm.
story of whole being and integrated self and embodied
Yeah.
truth that's claimed in our bodies, and that's
Mhm.
uh, well, it's a lot quieter to claim
A lot
that
quieter.
space. It's not as painful, but you're right. To sacrifice the word. I mean, most people know. Um, I think they do. The sacrifice comes from sac, sacre, which is to make sacred, and fare, which is to make. So holy. It's to make holy,
Mhm.
and that's sacrifices become, particularly with women and motherhood, it's like the giving away and the chopping off a limb and the torturing of self in order for another. But that's not actually it. It's like I choose to let go of this because I'm choosing to choose her.
Mhm.
And my initiation with the Divine Mother, she, gosh, only recently, like um I've been through it again, is how committed are you really?
Yeah.
Like, are you really committed?
Mhm.
So, and I've been tested and tested and tested and tested to, so I know now, and I know with a G, not a K, like I know with my gnosis, that my faith is absolutely true. I will walk through fire. I have. I will walk through blind. I'll walk through a cyclone, which is about to happen here for her if I
Mhm.
need to, because I trust that she will, I'm doing it for a reason.
Mhm.
So even though
Yeah.
my ego is like freaking, but yeah.
hmm And that's the thing, that ego will freak at the stripping back that we have to go through to be able to get to the core of who we are. And I can feel in the field at the minute that there is being called this next level of stepping into full responsibility and not being in the story, but going deeper into the body, into the truth, and alchemizing it. It's like there is no more time for the, as I called it, clucking hens and the noise that can come from the storylines. It's like we are shifting now to a different octave, and we have to get quiet and we have to get still to be able to hear it fully and align with it. That's the alignment that's been called into being now. And I really felt that like shift in the last couple of days, like this sense of, yeah, we need to raise an octave or two here.
Yeah. We need to be present.
Yeah,
And you know, if I'm defining myself through a story, I'm defining myself with what's already been. So
exactly.
I'm not present. I'm not here.
Hmm.
And our stories rob the power of our presence. And they also, if they're wrapped up with our shadows, they steal the glory of our future
Mm.
joy because they bind
Yeah.
future to our past identity. And that's with our ancestral
Hmm.
stuff, it's family stuff, it's with our what happened yesterday, you know, so it doesn't serve us.
Yeah,
It,
but that's not to say we're bypassing the stories. We are
no, no, no,
shifting
no,
through the
no.
stories and alchemizing, but we're not getting stuck there or claiming it as an identity or
Yeah,
part of us. It's like you said, it's something that's been lived and it's
yeah,
something that wants to move through, not to be held and stuck in the body. It needs to be alchemized and, yeah, just brought into order. It's almost like brought into one unified, cohesive field within the body. The body is key right now.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And to be able to witness aspects of self and past, like, you know, somebody's comes from their own experiences of trauma,
Hmm.
come from lineages of trauma, to not be able to acknowledge that that is a truth in your own experience
Hmm.
is a bypassing. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about recognizing everything and the perspective that constantly changes that is our own. Our
Hmm.
perspective, our perspective comes from our self and our eyes and our ego, our sense of separation. That's what I mean by ego. But our wholeness comes from vision and and love. And so we can see the past. So that's was my reality then. I'm not bound to that though. Not bound.
Yeah. Yeah. Not bound to it at all. And because I do think as well, there's a story that goes on when we do ancestral healing around that we always have to process it through ourselves or claim it as our own. And what I learned in your space to do in an embodied way was to feel what was mine and what was everybody else's, but in a way where I passed it along the lineage to the original source point. And in that way it was like I wasn't carrying the burden, because I think we have this notion that if we came into this lifetime, that was somehow here to clear the whole of the collective, ancestral collective story, and we're not. But some of our ancestors will dump that into us because it's like, oh, there's somebody willing to do the clearing work there, blah, blah, blah. And at that point when I met you, it was like, I was clearing so much, and it was like, hell to the no. Let's put it to where it originally needs to go, back to where it came from, back to its original source. And so that I could concentrate on what I came here to alchemize and clear and step into fully as a full embodied, like mystical woman. And in that moment, it was like I felt myself commanding the field. It was like in that moment, it wasn't like, can I do it? Is a request to an outside source, to God or whatever, to do it. It was no, I am commanding this space. I am the one to do
Mhm.
this. And it was just like that full step into claiming myself, you
Yeah,
know,
reclamation. Yeah,
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 into claiming myself. And I could see why a lot of people got stuck in that full command, is because of the gateway of that, like I said, is stepping into fully the sacrifice of being a mystical woman, and reframing what the word sacrifice is. Like you said, it comes from the word sacred, and dropping the martyrdom of thinking that you're the savior of everybody as mother. It was like,
yeah,
no, this is not it. This
yeah.
is not it.
No,
Yeah.
no, not at all. It's so funny when I claimed that for myself.
Hmm.
Um, it was the 1st of January 2014. And I said, like, I'm done. Like, I'm done. And I went to the beach, the headlands where my dad actually had a heart attack and died. And I went there and I collected 254 stones, um, representing 7 generations of my ancestors. Pretty wagey. Like I was like thinking, oh God, I've been carrying around all of my ancestors for all this time. And I built my medicine wheel on the family, like on a buffet just in the front door. And so I had this full circle of all of them. And I sort of had me in the middle, and I put a dot in me, and I called all of them, and I yelled at them, and I said, I'm not holding anything that doesn't belong to me. I send it
Hmm.
back to the source from which it came from. That's the family constellations
Hmm.
term, from Bert Hellinger's, like handing it back, because trauma flows down,
Well, didn't
ancestral epigenetic stuff flows down to the person
I?
who's got the big enough soul, the
Hmm.
container that can hold the biggest amount of water. Like it's
Hmm.
like flowing down like champagne and champagne glasses is pretty off champagne, because we're the ones who are big enough, wise enough, deep enough to be able to hold it, but it's not ours. It can
No.
cry container. We're holding it because our soul's coming with a mission to be
Hmm.
able to recalibrate it, because our soul's got its own imprints. And our own mission, sacred contract with our entire lineage, mother and father line, but it's not ours to carry. And I threw it back. Like I've written down the words that I said once somewhere, and I sent it all back. Like I was really cheesed off. I said, I'm done. I'm absolutely done. I had no idea actually what that was the effect that it
Hmm.
was going to have. Within 48 hours, I'd had an argument with my mum, and we didn't talk to each other probably for about 6 months, but we didn't really communicate for the next 3 years, because what came up was the lineage demon, and I ended up
Hmm.
getting it. You can see it. I've got a scar here on my chest. I got a skin cancer, and I was burning the skin cancer off, and it was all attached to a lineage demon that had been attached to my mum.
Hmm.
And it came up because that's what we had also. I mean, that's a whole other area
Yeah.
of work. that sits in our lineage. And
Mhm.
as we get stronger, we've got the capacity to work with that. But at the
Mhm.
beginning, I had no idea. It
Yeah.
was just like, whoa. It's like, I'm going to claim all the joy though. So I said yes to the joy because we've got ancestral joy too. But whoa, I was unprepared. So
Mhm.
I don't actually recommend people do that, just
Yeah.
quietly.
Yeah. And this is the thing, it's a journey, right, to do that. Because by the time
Yeah,
I got to your bit, it was like I'd done so much clearing. But like you said, those other attachments that weren't even it from my family lineage, it was like I was clearing for other lineage. It was like that was the thing of really feeling what actually is mine, what actually is my lineage, and what has like attached itself as that shouldn't even be there, that is using the energy of that to evolve itself. It's like, no, it was like a clean kind of sweep. And I just want to talk about that depth of heart and depth of the vessel that we are, knowing that we can hold all that. But again, it's like those cross wires of, but we're not meant to be having such big vessels for that. We're here to be the big vessels for mother to come through. That's how I see it, for our medicine to come through.
well,
And
that's how we craft our medicine, don't you
yeah,
think?
no,
That,
absolutely.
you know,
Absolutely. It's through the body and knowing the full capacity of what it can actually do in this
yeah.
in this lifetime.
Well, that's my journey. Like, uh, I didn't realize it at the time, but I came in as a sacrifice for my family without anybody being conscious of it.
Mm.
I was 11 when my back started to grow crooked, and it was just like curvature right here in my thoracic spine. And I grew up with a mother who lost her mother when she was effectively 14. She got sent to boarding
Mm.
school. Her mum died when my grandmother died when she was 18, 19. And my grandmother had lost her mother when she was 10. And Nellie, my great grandmother, they didn't even know what she died of. I ended up, she came and told me. Died of Murray Valley encephalitis, but they didn't know because when she did die, my great grandfather went to the funeral on his own, which was very common in that time, and the girls weren't allowed to go. And he came home and said, "I'm never talking about her again." His grief was too big, so they lost all connection with their mother. Um, so I grew up with
Mhm.
ocean of grief behind me, and I didn't know at the time that part of my curvature was to heal my lineage as I healed myself.
Mhm.
uh, yeah, but they
Yeah.
claimed me, they came to me.
Yeah.
So and that's talking about sacrifice. You don't get to be a mystic without having a sacred wound, and
Mhm.
mine is my
Yeah.
surgery.
Not just a sacred wound, but a sacred assignment,
Yeah,
which,
absolutely. Yeah,
um,
absolutely.
which
Yeah.
often, yeah, like you said, gets skewed as having a bad rap and being
Be the weird
so
one, the odd one. Yeah.
being so severely wounded or calling yourself the black sheep where you're the odd one. But
Yeah.
I love the reframe of no, we are the one, as in we know that we came in with a sacred assignment to shift that,
Absolutely.
not just
Yeah.
individually, but as a family system, but also
Yeah.
as a collective system. And this is
So
the thing that our wounds, yeah, it's time to just reframe them that, there is a
they're
reason
the doorway, aren't they?
they are
Like,
the doorway.
through all of that, like I don't know, there's a book in it. Uh, but I actually like I know for myself, I've come in to heal the seven generations, but also in that process, my ancient ancestresses came to me, and I have done the lineage work of healing my the connection between the my unbroken lineage of priestesses.
Hmm.
I actually believe those of us called to do this work, called to listen to the voice of the mother, called to do our ancestral healing, are also called to reweave those gossamer threads so that the wisdom can be reseeded. It's not
Yeah.
going to be the same wisdom as was back thousands of years ago when God was the mother. It's for now. It's
Hmm.
percolated through these generations of loss
Hmm.
and and heartache and disconnection so that we can bring that back, so we can connect with
Hmm.
these ones and refeed it through the winter, heal this much, send them to the light, and to bring this back now,
Yeah.
even for now.
This is one of the beautiful things that happens to be clarified in your space, as in I was having really prophetic dreams at that time about what my medicine was, what I was supposed to bring, that I had to create this spiral for people to walk to clear their ancestral things. I didn't know who was saying it. I knew it wasn't quite the mother, but I knew it was directed through her, and I didn't know who was saying it. And in your space, as you said, yes, we worked on looking at the wounds, but we also looked at thread connecting to, you said, all the unbroken, the clear ancestral women that could weave that medicine back into me. And in your space, I connected with, oh my God, my original ancestor who was sending me the medicine, who was sending me the words, who was visiting my dreams. And in one of the transmissions we did, she took me into the village and I was surrounded with the women. And, people can just say that was my imagination. That was not my imagination. I
It's
traveled back
imagination.
all the way back, and
Yeah,
pulled that thread all the way through to now. And it was like the most exquisite thing of seeing, sensing, feeling, touching, smelling the women of the village where my soul originated from, across time and space, from the beginning of time, and being one of those women that was initiated in that space. It was just like something I can't fully, I know I won't fully get it across now. The power of that, of being able to connect to that strand of your
yeah,
healed ancestors, the ones that carry the medicine in the basket, because as women in this time, we have been told so much baloney, and we have been forced into fearing our power, you know,
yeah,
disowning our medicine. We're still trying to work on it as a witch wound. And it's like, no, we need to shift track and we need to tune into the healed
yeah,
ancestors that are waiting with reams and reams and reams of wisdom and knowledge to weave back into the collective field. It's
yeah.
like this is the thing that's calling now. And I think what's happening in me at the minute is that anyone who's like stuck in old stories or wanting to like process the work, it's like my head actually hurts. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but it's just I realized today, oh, I'm being called to switch track myself and lead them to the benevolent ancestors, not the constant clearing and the story and whatever else. It's like now is the time to begin to weave that back into the fabric of humanity as the energies are assisting us to do.
Where's the
You know?
safest place to hide your pain? Sorry, where's the safest place to hide your wisdom? Like, where is it? It's going to be behind your most traumatic story.
Mhm.
So, underneath the imprint that we have for our witch wound, our, our soul trauma wound, like the place where we were priestesses and we experienced whatever
Mhm.
trauma it is, of- where you're going to find your wisdom, but while you stay in the story of it, the drama of it, and make it real now, like play it up real, you're not going deep enough.
Mm.
You're not going deep enough because underneath that the recalibration, the soul reweaving, not just retrieval, but actually assimilation, that reclamation drops us back into the beingness of
Mhm.
the clear emanation of wisdom that was never broken. And that once a woman, and I believe men go through it too, but
Mm.
I only know women because I'm a woman, born a
Yeah.
woman, and I only know this. I couldn't begin to know what else it would feel like. Um, when a woman touches this, she doesn't need anybody else to know.
Hmm.
I don't need anybody else to validate that I have this truth inside me, to understand the experiences that I've had in um, my assimilation of this wisdom, because I know it, because I know it.
Hmm.
It is direct revelation. It
Yeah.
is my process, and woe betide anybody who tries to cross that in me, because it is my embodied truth.
Hmm.
That is me standing as a lightning rod.
Yeah.
And that's what I see with other women when they get it. It's like, I know this
Yeah.
to be true.
Because it's crystal clear and it's like a still pond. And when I said before about the clatter, that noise, it
Yeah,
hurts my head because it is discordant.
yeah,
When we've been perpetually made to feel like we're meant to be in a state of stress or anxiety or on high alert. And that's what the discordance is that I feel now. Because when we're in the story, we do have the frequency and vibration of everything else. And so when we go deeper into the stillness, into the waters of our own, into the body, underneath the discord,
mm,
it's like you said, the depth. It's like the clear, still pool of knowledge.
yeah.
That's what true knowledge and wisdom feels like. It's not loud, it's not brash, it's not everybody needs to hear. It is just a
It,
sound so
it
clear that comes out of you that it rings true. And if people are meant to hear it, they hear it at that frequency. You're not meant to effort your wisdom.
requires no validation.
It requires no validation, it requires no effort.
Yeah,
It's just your unique, clear sound.
absolutely.
Yeah.
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 I hope
Talking of which, talking of which, when I found you and I saw that you'd written a book, I went to read this book. And so I read the like synopsis of it and thought, oh, that's really nice. It's called The Little Book of Shadows. And I read the first few pages and it was like, boof. Because you are so direct and crystal clear in that. And even to the point of, if you're at this such and such a stage of your journey, this book is not for you, kind of like. But the way that you said it was just like a sweeping, I felt it as calmness and stillness in me because it was like, wow, this woman's really crystal clear to me. So I want you to talk about the little book of shadow and how it came about.
yeah. Sitting strategically on my bookshelf. Yeah. Um, well, this book, oof,
And
um,
spiritual adulting, by the way, which I saw and felt in
exactly.
that book. Yeah.
Um, this book, it poured through me. Well, I was writing my book Ancestressy, like that. I was writing the book and getting terribly stuck in different pieces, and it was terribly caught up in my own. I'm not ready to write this. I don't know whether I'm good enough. And then in between that, I mean, it was a bit of a funny time in my life. After, oh gosh, 20 years, 30 years, 25 years of working with women and mothers, and 11 non-stop years of teaching the body of work, my sacred mother codes and mother quest to circles of women, back to back 13-month journeys. The whole woof run out, and it said, now you've got to take it to men. I went, no, I work with the women. It's sacred feminine. It's like, no, you take it to a circle of men. So I was in the middle of that initiation, and one day I was so frustrated. And it came through, this voice of the wild, unbridled feminine,
Hmm.
fierce as. And it not just one, it's like a collective of voices, and it just came through like a torrent of molten steel, like solid and clear, and would burn off anything, any dross. And the first 10 shadows came through, and then it stopped. And then the next year, while I was doing another circle of men, getting more and more lost, thinking, what am I doing? Um, it came through again, and then January last year, I got woken up on the new moon in January and said, you've got to finish the book, it's coming through. And then 52 shadows
Mm.
ended up being in the book. And it's like a slap around. I mean, it's sometimes I would giggle and go, I can't write that, but it had nothing to do with me. I knew that it was the conduit. I'm a conduit. I'm here to be egoless. We don't get to hold her if, like, I don't get to hold her if my identity and my um smallness is around. She just wanted
Mhm.
to pull through, and it just came through. And there it is, like a call for all of us to grow up. We need fierce feminine wisdom because it's
Yeah,
love. It's
yeah,
love. And
yeah.
if we're not mature enough in our sense of self that we can't take full responsibility for our bad behavior. I mean, the tagline is break the curse of your bad behaviors and upgrade from ego into spiritual adulthood. Like, when do we actually fully start doing our spiritual work? There are a lot of spiritual people out there that are not spiritual adults. So
Mhm. Yeah.
that's what came through. Thank you for
Yeah.
loving it.
No, I do love it because, like you said, it's that fierce feminine voice of let's cut the BS now and get to the program, and like you said, we need more of that cutting through because in the spiritual world there is a lot of like noise now around what it actually takes to be fully in your full spiritual essence as a full spiritual adult, because a lot of people unfortunately is still operating from the inner child, and letting that run the show. And so we have to learn. One of my big gifts is assisting people to learn how to embrace their inner child, as in to mother themselves, to stop looking for a surrogate mother outside because of the wounds that we've had, and really claim that in yourself so that you can hold the inner child as you're doing your own work and allow that to grow along with you so that the wisdom that you've come to bring can actually have space to come through, because it can't come through if we're not creating that big enough sense of self to be able to hold it. It's just impossible. And it's like, um, yeah, it's just time. Let's just,
Absolutely. I mean, hey, what you're talking, it just occurred to me. Like, while we still allow our inner child to run the show, and we haven't recognized that we're the mother that we've been waiting for,
yeah,
we haven't even got to our inner teenager.
yeah,
Like,
exactly.
you want to work on some shit? Like, work on your inner teenager that's still
Mhm.
needing to be in drama and all about
Yeah,
us. We are the parent,
yeah,
both mother and father, that we've
mm,
been waiting for. Because our parents, I mean, while we play out our inner wounded child, we we bypass the requirement for us to have had an imperfect childhood.
yeah.
We're not supposed to have a perfect childhood. Even, like, I'm a mother of my own too, and I got to with my marriage. So I've had the blessing of being able to love other people and another mother's children, and grow up with them as well as having my own. And um, there was a point in there with, while we can have our best intentions to raise our children perfectly, we
Mhm.
still need to do it, because somewhere I'm the parent of my children's body. I'm a child. I'm a parent of their childhood. But now, as they're becoming young adults, it's my job to let them go. They've got to be the parent of their own life, like
Mhm.
the adult in their own life, authenticate, and then become the parent of their own soul,
Mhm.
and fill that gap between where their human childhood ended, and
Mhm.
and they step into their imperfectly perfect parenting of their parents, like the humanity of their parents, so that they can fill their own gap. We've got to do that. That's
Yeah.
part of being a proper adult. And if we don't talk about that, instead we talk about woundology, and we
Mhm.
we pathologize ourselves through every wound that we can possibly find, or we stay stuck there, we miss the point of this opportunity
Yeah.
to become glorious and whole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's a growing process for us as well that we have to like take our inner teenager out of arrested development because let's face it, in this world, we don't get initiated into womanhood. It's just
Yeah.
not a thing. So we have to
No.
initiate ourselves. And then we have to initiate ourselves out of womanhood in, into motherhood, in through motherhood, into being a full matriarch, into being a maven, into being a crone. It's like we are not initiated, so we have to be the ones that kind of either seek people who can do that with us or do it. It's a DIY job often, and like you said, growing into that fullness because often when we don't do that and we leave this gateway of motherhood and into the transition of the place where our full bodies of work want to come through us,
Yeah.
it's like we're too busy, like you said, in the woundology of empty nest and this, that, and the other, and
Yeah.
all these other things, and like being told that as you grow older, it's like you're going on the scrappy and all this nonsense that we get told around this gateway of going into our queenhood, and it's like it has to switch now. We have to realize that this is all the things that are coming up to be witnessed at these times, at these doorways are for us to alchemize them, not pathologize and go into the full story of them. And yeah, this actually leads on to a beautiful podcast I did with my friend Teresa about this stage and the emptiness, because it's not just emptiness outwardly when we let go of our children, it's an emptiness of inside us as well. Because if we're still operating from those smaller cells, it's going to feel empty because we're not full of ourselves. It's going
Yeah.
to feel empty.
Absolutely. And I see, how convenient it is for a world that denigrates women that the power phase of our life, the
Yeah,
Marga,
yeah,
the elder, which is
yeah.
different to grandmother,
Yeah,
crones are grand.
Crohn's
The
or crumbs.
elder is who we step into, where
Yeah,
we take responsibility of being the wisdom holder,
yeah.
the teacher, the the um the the one that protects and guides
Hmm.
and holds the tribe and the clan,
Yeah.
holds my family. Like, I'm really aware that matriarch is the first stage of our power phase in the Women's Wheel of Life of
Hmm.
Elizabeth, Carol Leonard's work. And but it's so important, and it's so convenient that that language has been lost, because
Hmm.
that we've collapsed into crone, that
Yeah.
we're bypassed.
Suddenly. It's like, hello?
Because it means that women who have lived an external life, have been disconnected from their internal wisdom, hasn't used their menstrual cycle or their mothering path as their spiritual unfurlment, haven't owned the divinity of their embodied wisdom and used that as their path, then of course, how convenient, it gives them an excuse to collapse in
Mhm.
their elderhood
Yeah.
and blame and redundancy. Well, I didn't get to choose that path and I wouldn't even want to.
Mhm.
Like, reclaiming rites of passage. Look, if we're a generation now, I don't think that we're the first generation. There's always been wonderful wisdom seeders. I've been blessed to have older mentors, women in my life
Mhm.
who have reclaimed it too. I think it's a generational. There are those who set out
Mhm.
to reclaim and who are called and come to do
Mhm.
it purpose. But it's happening right now en masse because it needs to. And we
Mhm.
need, I see all of women beautifully who have awakened since we've been through the 2012 gateway.
Mhm.
Like, who have no idea of what it used to be like to sit in a circle and to talk about menstrual blood or women's way or even claim God as a mother, has no idea about the energetic like taboo and forbiddenness to do that. I was sitting in circle breaking through that, like when there's so much light now on the planet since
Mhm.
the we've click through the 2012 gateway. And these women now need to know that elders are here.
Yeah,
And that they
yeah.
can go deeper. You can go deeper than doing a hot chocolate ceremony. I don't mean to be facetious about this, but
Mm.
there is so much more depth than that, or a sound bowl, or to do your breath work. There's so much more.
Yeah.
And and it's time
Mm.
for
Those
those.
those things, those tools have a place, but like you said, we are being called into a deeper order,
Yeah, that's right.
into the reclamation of elderhood and wisdom keepers and just exalted priestess, divine goddess beings that came here to do a task, which was to create and rearrange the fabric of the world, of the universe, and be the vessel and conduit for that. And it's just time. We have lost, like you said, it's sudden the wisdom that has been, taken over and infiltrated on the planet, that, like you said, it goes from maiden, mother, crone. It's like, hello, there's a gap. And we've lost our elder. We've lost the understanding of what it is to be a full embodied elder. And this is what I'm feeling with um like the women that have been called to me, that I am taking through this portal of, no, we've got to drop all the surface level now, and you are being called into your full elderhood now.
Yeah,
You are at the
absolutely.
gateway of a new threshold, and it has to be devoid of all the other things that you've been through, all the story. I mean, when I was going through this portal of through what we call perimenopause. I hate that term, but I thought I was going,
Preparation.
sorry?
Preparation.
Yeah, preparation phase. I thought I
Yeah,
was losing my mind because I couldn't think and remember things. And then it was told that no, it's because you're letting go of everything, that all that story you had, all those things that you've been told about, all the beliefs that I had, it was like, they're not necessary. Clear
yeah,
your mind. Your body is doing its job. Our hormone levels move like that to do its job. We can't
yeah,
turn back time. There is no need for HRT or whatever else to replace it. It doesn't need replacing. God did not create a mistake. Our bodies are meant to do that so that the things come up to the top, which needs to be cleared and alchemized by you as a mature, mastered woman. And your mind begins clear so that you can bring in the deeper wisdom and be connected to the cosmic womb and bring in the information. You are not losing your mind. You are not losing your thoughts. Why would you want to keep your mind cluttered with, I don't know, the 10 times table or whatever it is that you're wanting to hold on, that you can count or you can remember certain facts and figures? It's like, it's not important right now. What's important right now is that you are bringing in, as a vessel, into your womb wisdom from the cosmic womb, the information and intel that the Divine Mother is trying to bring through so we can create what we came to do.
uh-huh.
Ah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Ashe, ashe,
Absolutely.
ashe, ashe. Let's,
I so hear you. Absolutely. It's so potent. And I mean, I'm launching a program there,
yeah,
largely
let's
putting it
talk
out.
about your
It's
program.
closing on Friday. So um, uh, I'm just letting people know that this is what I'm doing. It's called Closing the Bones, but it's finishing a 13-year journey that I've been
Mm.
on, these sacred mother codes. And I remember when I was 40 and I was given this body of work, and I remember thinking, oh gosh, who am I going to be in my 50s? That's felt so old. Now I'm here, I'm like, not that old. But feeling remarkable, thinking, I'm actually closing a chapter, and motherhood is a chapter in our life, as
Mhm.
is our menstruating years is a chapter of our lives. And how can we we can't go into elderhood without going through a reckoning. We are
Mhm.
so gifted as women that we have a biological tool that one allows us to create children if we're blessed, everything goes right. So I'm making an assumption that not all women are able to conceive their own children or carry them, but the nature of woman, an
Yeah,
embodied woman born a woman is born female, is that we have the template for creation.
yeah.
But our menstrual cycle is our own astral embodiment tool. It's what we get to explore our earth mission in the feminine, and we've got these cycles to help us craft that. And here we are, we don't even have to do anything. Our body
Mhm.
puts through the reckoning,
Yeah.
and that's what I'm giving voice to. um,
Mhm.
I'm holding a container where we I'm blessed that I've had women who have worked with me over the last, oh gosh, 20 years, are still around me and are coming back to close the
Mhm.
bone,
Yeah.
who are all around my age now. Not all of them, but chunks of people at different ages, but they've got a core group of women my age, and we're
Mhm.
going, okay, let's do this.
Yeah.
Let's consciously own this. And if we find a map for those who are interested in following it this way, then let's bring it through. But these maps need to be crafted now.
Mhm.
Our rituals and our rites need to be crafted so that, yes, our body remembers. She will inform us about
Mhm.
what it is that we need to do, what we need to do in order to step into conscious elderhood. But we can do it with clarity and finesse
Yeah.
and structure and intelligence.
Yeah,
Um,
because this, when I speak, I'm not poo-pooing the journey that people have, because trust me, oh my God, yeah, I went through it. I went through it on my own as well, like trying to understand the process, trying to understand what the disintegration was. And I went thrashing through that. So I'm not condemning anybody who like
Gosh, no.
is at that doorway. But this time that we're in now is being called to order to do it in such a conscious way with guys that have already done it and have can lead you through so that it's not as tumultuous as we have been told that it is. The menopause is such, like you said, it's the stepping through into a different phase of life. It is such a beautiful process. It can be such a beautiful process if we don't follow the narrative that somehow it's taking things away. It's not taking things away. It's providing the richness of elderhood, something that's been negated out of the collective field to the point that even in goddess circles we miss it. We miss that there's a fourth stage that we go through. You know,
Yeah.
there's a stage missing. Our autumn years, our abundant, when the harvest is plenty and we're picking the fruit of our labor, you know,
Mm. And
it,
feeding our community with
and
it.
feeding the community with it, the abundance of the energy that comes at this time that gets confused with hot flushes and whatever else. No, that's your internal engine switching on. You know, your energy's not outpouring anymore through your monthly bleed. It's going in, it's going up, it's going in, and it's stoking the fire and it's warming your womb in a different way, and it's like getting you all hot and feverish because it's burning off the dross so that you can be a clear vessel for the
Absolutely.
medicine that is ready to pour through you as a body of work. That's what came to me of the other day. That your body of work is not something that comes out of yourself. It is encoded in your body, literally. That is your body of work.
Absolutely.
And you
Absolutely.
can't hear it, feel it, sense it, be with it, unless you see this as a miraculous portal that you're going through. And like you said, transforming and a closing of a chapter and an opening of another one, but the closing of the bones in that sense. as what
Absolutely.
Lola's saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Um, yeah.
Well, we've done ancestry, we've done
Yeah. I'm
we've
just thinking, could you
delved
just
with
say a little extra about what the mother codes are? Because you've said it a few times, but um, yeah, just to clarify what that is for people, and then we'll start wrapping up.
so this is where I hit the feeling that I'm a too much woman. I've got a lot. So in 2012, actually it was December 2011 on the Mars um, full moon eclipse. I got woken by spirit and called outside, which I didn't want to do because I was
As you
comfortable in
do.
bed and it was raining. But anyway, long story short, I went outside and yes, the moon was full and red, and the clouds had parted. And spirit said to me, "You are going to receive, if you say yes, um, 13 different faces of the the divine feminine in her mothering aspect.
Mm.
And if you say yes, then each mother will come to you with an awakening, a shadow, a power, and a universal wisdom. What do you say?" And I said yes 5 times and went, I don't know what's just happened, but something's happened. And then it happened. And then I didn't sleep for a year. Pretty much I'd get about an hour's sleep and then I'd get woken up. And each mother, it wasn't every month, it was sort of each mother would come in and she would introduce herself and then she would sit with me. So it was like I was 40, 41 when all of this has happened. My life just exploded. I had 2 little kids. My husband and I opened a clinic. He's an acupuncturist and I'm a holistic counselor, psychotherapist. And we opened a clinic and we moved out of Brisbane to the Gold Coast. Like so many things happened. So real life was happening and my ordinary life was happening, but it was like the mother put a veil over me to show me what life would look like if we stepped into this archetype of mother.
Mhm.
And I didn't know who was coming or what was coming. I had my own ideas, great ideas, nothing like what I was shown. And each mother came in and Peace Mother came in. I was sitting by the ocean. We were moving house and I sat on the ocean and Peace Mother said, "I'm Peace Mother. I'm here to clear the violence in your soul." And I was like,
Mm.
couldn't I get moving house, Mother? And house fairy mother? No. And she did, she would, anyway, there's more
Mm.
of a story to that one. So they're like a clock face, 12
Mhm.
archetypes, and they are nothing like the archetypes of astrology or the Celtic uh, wheel or any of the archetypes that I've even known. She came through, she gave them to me, and she told me at the beginning that I would sit with a circle of women, some that I knew, some that I didn't, and they would birth it with me. And I committed to doing that work non-stop for 13 years. So I committed to then having a year with each one of the mothers. And I started with the 13th mother that sits in the void in the middle. I didn't know that at the time, but that's what was going on as I worked out what I was doing. And then I did each mother. And that's the work that the book, my shadow work sits on, and these universal wisdoms are universal truths. Like the
Mhm.
first 4 are belonging, the universal truth of belonging, the universal truth of incarnational love, not unconditional love or love, but incarnational love. The universal truth of present moment or presence, and the fourth one is impermanence, or we call it. It's got a language around it now after 13 years. Fearless aliveness. And so there's all of them, and where they even, I mean, it took me a couple of years to work it out.
Mhm.
Thankfully, I've had women working with me the whole time who have been just as blown away as I have. The mothers sit opposite their mothers, so I now know that the first 6 are our conscious journey, walking away from our unconscious top side outside self defined world into the void of our unprocessed inner life, like to reach the universal wisdom of our divine embodiment. And
Mhm.
then we start out, so that's our descent. All sacred feminine work has both the descent and the ascent. We've got
Mhm.
Inanna's return to give that survived. So that's here as our template for that. And then our ascent, we start with the promise of how we could do our life while we're in harmony and wholeness with our divine self. So each mother has a twin who is complete in itself, but they work in synergy with each other. And I'm now the last mother, which is home mother, and it's amazing. And that's our sacred promise of sacred humanity. And uh, I feel profoundly blessed that I've walked this with over 100 families
Mhm.
of women who's changed their lives and their worlds. And I've crafted bodies of work that has come through this. It has not been easy. It has required everything.
Mhm.
And um, uh, I now see that this is the work of the power aspect is where we arrive at menopause. It's who we can stand at the gateway into elderhood. We can use these sacred codes, these divine mother archetypes as our portal of reckoning of
Mhm.
how well we did each quest. So I've taught this work as a called Mother Quest. And that's what it is. I've been questing to bring back the sacred mother codes, and it's my job now at this time to be a wisdom seeder. I'm here
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
scatter it.
Scatter those seeds.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
because you're coming to the end of this is like the last mother now, do you know what you're going to do with the collective work afterwards?
Well, yes, I do. That only's just come through.
Okay,
Yeah.
because yeah, I remember you saying that it's going to form into something else, and so just so that because we, I want the listeners to know that it may be coming to the end of this journey for the women that you've worked, but there is a whole collective kind of feel
Well,
that you are spreading out now from that body of work, and I can't wait to see. But it just feels so juicy and necessary, and I love the fact. I love listening to that story. I've listened to that story so many times, but I love listening to it because it seeds the notion that we don't know what the thing is that we're being given to do. And it doesn't come through linear and it doesn't come through all at once. It's like following little breadcrumbs and listening. If you get told to get up through the night, get up through the night and do the thing, write the thing. That's how my book was formed. That woman, mother, would not let me sleep until I
yeah.
got out of bed to write the damn book, you know? And it's that thing of, are we going to allow these streams of consciousness that want to come through us to embody the thing? Because it's taken me a long while for me to understand that I am my body of work. The journey that I went on is the body of work. It's what the book is about. It's what the body of work, my flesh and bones signature program is about. It's about me. And I have only just understood that as I've got to the last part of my new embodied name, which is Coco Oya Sienna Ray, because Oya came through as the mother essence first and just said, do you want me to help you transform your life? Because I was in the pits. And I said, yes. I had no idea what this apparition was, what it was. And oh my God, she just like a hurricane that she is, just swept through my life and cleared. And I was like, oh my God, what is going on? But I didn't let it phase me because I know if I then went out and found out who Oya was, because I had no idea who she was at the time. And going through the initiatory process with her over like 7 years, then I reclaimed her name. She allowed me to claim her name. And then the other bits, Coco Oya, the Coco bit came as cosmic consciousness. And I've done that through embodying the book. And the last bit, Sienna Ray, is around being embodied on God's grace. And this is what God is asking for now. This is what she's asking for now, that there is so much grace open to us all and is flooding into the planet if we choose to listen, feel, sense it, and be with it. All the other stuff is just noise. And we are being asked to really feel the love of Mother, feel her love and let it permeate through us and as us. And the ones like myself and Lhamo, who I call the sirens of the mother, that are singing her medicine out through them, as them, are being called now in a bigger way. And I just want to say that trust the process. The process will not make any sense whatsoever, and you will be taken into a descent to ascend. It's just the path. And yeah, you are learning to have faith. You are learning to have more trust, and you are learning to be an open vessel for the wisdom to come back to the planet in a new way. Like Lhamo said, it's not how it was those centuries ago when there was a matriarchal thing. It's like in a new um configurated form. And we need to be in our bodies and quiet enough to hear it.
Yeah,
We do. We just
absolutely.
there is
Um,
no other way.
yeah, absolutely. It's so
Mm.
beautiful. That is a prayer in itself, Coco. Yeah.
Oh, thank you, my darling.
Mm.
I'm feeling like,
Come to the end.
yeah, we're coming to the end.
Yeah.
If there's anything else you'd like to share, if there's anything that's like pressing to come through. Um, in fact, there's
Only,
one thing just around that in the process of shifting through all this, it is a grief process as well. We've got to feel it all to be able to move through it. And feeling it doesn't mean wallowing it. The emotions and thing and the grief just want to pass through.
yeah,
And if we allow them to do that, it can be so much more comfortable. And we are in a grief process anyway. We're in a grief canal collectively anyway, as the things begin to fall away. So we may as well learn how to be with that emotion. Because for me, on the other side of grief is grace. That's what I've
true. And
discovered for
true.
myself, and that's why um, part of my medicine is helping people to die well, to the old.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And die moment by moment.
moment by
Absolutely.
moment. Mm,
Um, our embodied emotions are there not to be stuck or to stay like they're our water, it's our
yeah.
energy in motion. And
Mhm,
I think part of the I don't I can't say that it's true for anybody else, but for my path, the gift of being able to allow my emotions to be my healing source, to let
mhm,
those old tears out, to be able to sit in the cauldron of my emotions and to let them percolate so that I can
mhm,
find the diamond at the bottom
mhm.
of the truth,
Yeah.
underneath the storm, the stillness
Mhm,
after the cyclone is
mhm,
absolutely there. And um, we'll never get to our joy
mhm.
and grace if we don't allow ourselves to go through it.
Yeah.
Um, the piece that I wanted to say is my name is Lhamo.
Ah, Lhamo.
Most people don't know how to pronounce it. It's my Tibetan Buddhist name.
Thank you.
I
Because
was
I think I call
another.
you every name under the sun.
You can go, I don't care. Like, oh, I've got a funny story about that, but I won't say it because once I say it, it gets stuck in people's heads. But um, it's my full Tibetan Buddhist refuge name is
Ah,
I was Lhamo, which means goddess of light,
oh.
and I was a 40-year-old woman, and spirit kept saying change your name. I was like changing my name. It's like change name. It's like it went on for years, and I went okay, I'm changing my name, and I became another 40-year-old spiritual woman with an
Mm,
unpronounceable name.
yeah.
So. But it's the name that gives me refuge and peace,
Mhm.
because it's big enough to hold her.
Yeah.
It means that I can hold her, and my small identity. My birth name
Mm,
is Elizabeth. I don't have to be Elizabeth.
yeah.
I'm. It gives me the peace, the spaciousness of that.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
let's just honour our little ones because my birth name is Carol. And so I really want to honour that, her, as this part of my soul that carried and went through all that. But like you say, we don't have to be those things. And my name gives me the grace and the container to hold her, to hold mother. Because, like you, in my 40s, it was like, change your name, change your name, change. I don't want to change my name, change your name. Because, yeah, some of us
Yeah.
have to do that to be able to hold the thing. Because,
Well, it's part of that ego death,
yeah,
isn't it?
part of the ego, letting go of the small self.
We've
Um,
had so many names. So
yeah.
thank you so much for
Thank
this
you
opportunity.
so much. Thank you so much. There was one word that you used at the end called percolation when you spoke of the emotions, and that really hit home because it's like we're not wallowing in the emotions, we are holding them in a pot, percolating them, and letting the wisdom come up like steam. Beautiful picture.
So my last what's coming from me is a wisdom school. So
Oh,
my body work
perfect.
and ancestracy. So the ancestral, motherline healing from my lineage of women. So it was my great grandmother who gave that to
Mm,
me, a dream.
yeah,
That body of work, my sacred mother codes, and my feminine embodied shadow work that's grown out of
mm,
this work, my work with Mary Magdalene. So, and Tibet, um, um, female Dakini Buddhism, so lineage, women's lineage work. They're the three big teachings that I'm here to teach
yeah.
another generation so that a legacy is here. So
Mhm.
that's what I'm here to do. That's my work. That's the next evolution of what I'm stepping into. And the mother has said, it's now.
Get it
So
done. Get it done now. So where
okay,
can,
right, okay, good, because
yeah,
yeah, no emptiness for me.
yeah. But likewise, it's like get it done now. So where can people actually find you and get to know you more and your work?
My old website is ministryofshe.com, and I will be unfurling my next, you know, evolution in the next couple of months. So I'll keep my details with you. I've got a Facebook page and an Instagram that I'm not very good at, which I can give you the details for that. And on Amazon, you can find the little book
Yeah,
of shadow.
yeah.
So
If you can, people follow Loma's writing on
spiritual adulting is the
yeah,
other.
spiritual adulting on Facebook because the gems that come through, well, to me anyway, they hit like a clear crystal bell. They may like shake you up a little bit, but they are just a resounding like yeah, for me, a crystal clear bell of clarity that kind of shaped me into like, yeah, following the line, following the line. Yeah. But
You've been so fun.
thank
Yeah,
you
thank
so, so much. So grateful I found you in this lifetime at last.
you. Me too. Me
And we're
too.
traveling this road together. Thank you so much.
Adore you so
Mm,
much. Thank you. Thank you.
mm. Thank you for joining me on Sirens of the Mother podcast, where we wax lyrical about all things mother, from the divine to the downright dirty.